So yeah, what I want to do to start with, I want to do a quick visualization with everyone. Could you all unmute yourselves as well? Unless you've got real loads of noise in the background. If everyone just unmute yourself, because this is more of a conversation really than me a presentation. So I want you all to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine you're in the middle of the week. We all work for ourselves. We're all self-employed people, aren't we? We're in the middle of the week and things have been going all right. And then you get a phone call from a client who tells you that you made a massive mess on something you've just done, a product you've provided to them or a service. And they've told you they need it changing really, really quickly. And they've just put loads of pressure on you. Then another email comes in from another customer making a complaint. Then another complaint comes in. And then another client calls and says, look, we need you to do this and it needs to be in for tonight. We need it by 5 p.m. tonight. Bear in mind, this is just Wednesday and you've had all of this stuff just piled on your head out of the blue. Open your eyes. How do you feel right now?
Stressed.
Okay, so we've got a bit of stress going on.
Okay.
Okay,
so I'm opening up my to-do list. I'm creating a plan.
So Peter's opening his to-do to create a plan. Anyone else? How are you feeling with those client demands?
I hide somewhere.
So Gareth wants to hide somewhere. Okay, let's jump back into the visualization and close your eyes again. So again, it was the middle of the week. You had email complaints coming in, excessive client demands, complaints coming all over the place. But then you just realized, of course, Saturday morning, you're going to Ibiza for 2 weeks. Totally forgotten about that. Open your eyes again. How do you feel now?
Really better.
Yeah. The stress is gone. We're feeling a bit better. And that's the thing. When we've got something to look forward to, it helps us to weather the tough times in life. It makes things so much easier to handle because things that happen to us, especially while we're locked down at the moment, feel big, okay? Because we're confined most of the time. But when you've got something to look forward to that's bigger than those events, those little bumps in the road, it makes them far easier to handle. Now, I think from all the I've been doing so many one-to-ones with clients and employees over the last 9 months, and the most common 2 words I've heard are, guess what they are? What do you think?
Stress.
Anxiety
and stress.
Anxiety and stress.
On mute.
On mute, yeah. Put your trousers on. No. Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. Do you remember that 1993 Bill Murray film?
Yeah.
Groundhog Day. So many people just feel like they're living in a loop, and it's hard to have things to look forward to when you feel like you're repeating the same day over and over and over, and that can be quite overwhelming for a lot of people, especially the ones who live on their own. So yes, we had some great news yesterday. So there is actually finally light at the end of the tunnel. And how did you feel when you heard that bit of news? I know it's not it's not changing things tomorrow, but how did you feel when you saw that things are going to start changing?
Initially, when I realised that we had at least another month of this, it did make me feel a little bit, oh gosh, another month. But then I thought about it properly and I thought, well, January and February for me, they've gone really quickly. So I thought, well, it's going to be over with before you know it. And we've got stuff to do. And I thought if I keep myself busy, I'll be there. And then when the rest of the announcements and everything came out, it just really lifted me because there is that light. Yeah.
So that light, and that's a key thing, a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Anyone else feel a similar thing when they heard the announcement yesterday?
I was going to, after this, ring my parents and say they need to move into a home because then I can see them sooner.
Okay. Is that good? Is that good for you? Is that good for you?
Well, they're in their early 60s. I've got young parents, so I think they'll slap me when they next see me. But
Far too young. Far too young.
I can't. Especially
yes,
we had Christmas, I've had a birthday, and there are 2 times where I definitely see my parents. They're like my best friends as well as my parents, and so for me it was working around. Okay, and then when
do you feel that there's light at the end of the tunnel, Shell? Do you feel there's light at the end of the tunnel now?
I do, yes. Yeah, especially as someone who started a business during the pandemic.
This could be quite tough. David, what were you about to say?
I think my thinking was, this time last year, I hadn't heard of lockdown.
Okay.
And actually, the year's gone really quickly in some ways. And, another 2 or 3 months, and it feels like some normality will come back. And I'd rather spend the time getting back to sensible normality than rushing things after such a long year.
Okay, yeah. I see some different responses as well. And I'm glad that someone raised the idea of light at the end of the tunnel there, because that Groundhog Day It's when you don't know every day is going to be exactly the same, but at least now we know that something's going to start changing at some point, and that's the key thing. So what I want to talk to you about, I want to talk to you about how we can sort of cultivate a positive future outlook that helps, the type of outlook that helps get through tough times, because everyone responds differently, and I think a lot of it, a lot of it's outside of our control, but a lot of it is down to our mindset as well. I think that's really key. So I'm not saying that if someone's struggling, it's their fault, because that's absolutely not the case. But everybody responds differently. And I think if we cultivate a certain type of mental outlook, we can feel a bit better in these situations. Okay. So I want to talk to you about how we go about cultivating that outlook. So I want to just ask a few of you, what have you guys got to look forward to? Anyone got anything booked that they're looking forward to, like a holiday or anything like that? Okay, Gareth, give us a headline, just headline format. What have you got to look forward to?
I've created a purple lounge, which is happening this Friday, that I'm inviting you all to.
Right, okay. So Gareth has created a purple lounge. Brilliant. And that's something exciting to look forward to. Anyone else got anything else to look forward to? Sally, what have you got to look forward to?
Going to visit my family, going to see my 2-year-old great niece who is growing up without me seeing her. So going to visit people and spending some good time with them.
Brilliant. Simon, what have you got to look forward to? Apart from getting a haircut.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it's been almost like the little things to move away from Groundhog Day. So when I came out of January, I was a bit sort of, well, starting into January, a bit of a wobble. Oh my goodness, it's a new year, but everything's still the same. And realizing what fills my tank, and actually meeting up with people fills my tank. So I booked out tomorrow afternoon to catch up with a friend, go for a social distance walk. And I've been trying to do that with different people, whether it's through Zoom or whether it's face-to-face every week. So I've got something every week to look forward to, rather than the big thing of seeing my folks who I haven't seen for 6 months and getting away somewhere as well. So having those small things for me has worked really well.
Brilliant. And Simon, you've set us up perfectly for what we're about to talk about next then.
Because, sorry.
No, that's brilliant. No, that's perfect. That was a perfect segue, because what I think typically when we think of things to look forward to, we think of things, if you think of it, visualize a horizon, we're always looking forward to ships that are right on the horizon rather than those nearer things. And I think what Simon's tapped into there is really important, because we think about our annual holiday. Oh, I've got a holiday I'm looking forward to at the end of the year or next year. What about thinking about those intermediate horizons? What about things to look forward to at the end of the month? What about things to look forward to at the end of the week? What about things to look forward to at the end of the day? And even more importantly, what about things to look forward to every time you take a break at work? Every hour. I mean, I take a break every 30 minutes. I give myself something to look forward to doing every time I take a break, because when you've constantly got that little ray of light in the back of your mind, it makes everything much, much easier to handle. So I'm going to share with you some ideas that I've stolen from some people that I've seen around how to cultivate this positive outlook. And I want you guys to chip in with your own suggestions as well, because I'm going to ask you at the end of this session to think about how you're going to bring this into your own lives as well. So, because if you imagine, let's say we've got an annual cruise to look forward to. That's brilliant. It's great. You can't wait to sail around the Caribbean or the Med or wherever it is. But is that going to help you on a day-to-day basis? Maybe not. So I know someone who, at the end of each month, what he's decided to do, he has a beer tasting night with his friends. He's got 5 mates, and what they do, they all speak via email and via WhatsApp, and they say, right, this month, each of them gets to choose a beer. They put together a little menu of beers they're going to have, and then they go out and buy the beers themselves and get together on Zoom at the end of each month and have a beer tasting night. So they sample the beers and they give their opinions of them, and it turns into, okay, a bit of a booze up, but it's a social, and it's something for them to look forward to. And I think it's an absolutely fabulous idea. So what sort of things could you plot at the end of each month? Or give us an example of something you could put at the end of your month that you know you've got to look forward to at the end of that month's horizon. What can you think of? Someone give me some headline ideas.
I give myself work deadlines. This has to be completed by that time. And there's a sense of satisfaction of having finished it.
Absolutely. So yeah, having the idea, a work deadline that we know we're working towards, that sense of achievement. Thank you, Peter. Brilliant. Anybody else got any ideas? What could you plot at the end of March? Which obviously you're going to do something each month different, maybe. What could you plot at the end of March to give yourself something to look forward to?
Something I've been doing over the last few months is meeting up and going for a walk with either my sister or a friend. So making sure that you're getting out and you're seeing these people and making sure they're all right, and just, yeah,
Yeah, sounds like a great idea. It's that social thing, that thing. And I think someone just mentioned, I think it was Simon said that you fill your tank by being around people. And that's the thing I get from all the interactions I've had with employees and within my clients. It's that people feeling they're energized and they fill their tank by being with other people. And that's what's been so problematic, that lack of ability to fill their tank because they're not getting the interaction. Okay, anyone else got anything they could plot on their end of March horizon to look forward to?
For me, it would be putting together a socially distanced program for my young people in the evenings with the Scouts. I'm looking forward to maybe, hopefully, you never know, that we might just be able to go back and squeeze an odd weekend's camp away, you know, and that.
Excellent. I like the sound of that, Yvonne. I'd come along if I wasn't too old to be in the Scouts, because I'm 16
not too old.
now.
Grandma Sunshine can still be doing it.
I'm going to be 17 this year, so I'll probably be too old. So we've got some ideas about the end of the month then. And again, what we're trying to do here, because hopefully this scenario will never be upon us again. Hopefully we're not going to go back into a lockdown. But if we do, or a situation that warrants you not having as much freedom, then we have to have these things, these little things we plot on our futures to give ourselves to look forward to pull us through. I also know someone who, what they've started to do, they live in our county in Northamptonshire, they've decided to Google every week a different walk. So they've been online and found out all of the amazing walks in Northamptonshire and have dedicated every single Sunday to going and exploring a different walk with their dogs. And what they've said, they've found loads of areas they didn't realize were so amazing in Northamptonshire, discovered loads of beauty, had loads of socially distanced conversations with people along routes, and got so much exercise and fresh air. And that pulls them through the week, because they know no matter what happens during the week, on Sunday, they'll have their wellies on, splashing through the mud with their dogs and exploring new terrain.
There's a wonderful app for that called Go Jointly.
Go Jointly.
Jointly, J-A-U-N-T-L. Go Jointly, and it lists walks where you are or nearby or wherever you want to go.
Brilliant. So go
Jointly,
guys.
I can recommend Adventure Geek.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we've got these. So that's one option. What else have we got? What could you plot on the end of your week that's going to pull you through any obstacles that should arise during the week? What would really excite you to have to look forward to at your weekend? Shell?
I'm quite sad, but last year, and especially during the lockdown, I've got into growing my own veg. So I'm quite excited, to be honest, that now we are heading into March, that I can start sowing and doing some gardening.
The carrots will start to pop up soon.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So we've got gardening to look forward to. And again, that's something we're not too restricted by, is it? What else have we got this? So we've got dog walks, exploring, we've got Go Jauntily, we've got waiting for our carrots to pop up. What else have we got? What would excite you to look forward to? Sally, at the end of your week, what would excite you? What would pull you through the week?
This is the ultimate lockdown cliche, but every week on a Monday night, I host a quiz for a group of friends. So we're actually in a quiz team in London, and we used to go to London every week and meet up. We can't do that. We're all dotted all over the country. Some of the guys are living at home. Like one guy's had to move back with his parents because his landlord kicked him out. Some people are living on their own. It's quite difficult, and we just get together and have a laugh. And what's really exciting is we used to just write 8 questions each and do a quiz. And now, because we've been doing it for nearly a year, we're coming up with these really innovative quizzes, and it's really fun. And we all look forward to trying to outdo one another, and we just have a really good laugh, and it's a really nice start to the week.
And do you look forward to those?
I do. I look forward to it, and also it's nice to know that some of your friends who might not necessarily pick up the phone and say, I'm having a bit of a crap time, I'm a bit lonely, you know that they're having social contact, you can see them, you know they're having a laugh, and it's really nice to know that you're supporting them as well.
Absolutely. So that's it, like a geeky get-together, like Sally has with her geeky mates, eh? Geeky get-togethers.
Exactly.
So there's so many different things we can have to look forward to, and plotting that on the end of our week horizon. David, were you about to throw one in as well?
Talking about geeky time, I'm playing bridge 6 days a week with my wife in different online environments with different groups. I think it's about I think a lot of it has been about adapting to a different lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's really key. It is about adapting. It's about adapting psychologically to the way the world is at the moment. And that's the thing, we can. Our minds are so malleable. You know, this whole neuroplasticity thing. The mind, we can learn things quickly. We can change the way our minds work. We can be flexible as long as we put in the effort. So we've looked at things to put on the end of our month horizon. Now if we come back in, we've got our end of week horizon. What about the end of each day? Now I know someone who runs a fitness studio, and she has to put up with all these really annoying personal trainers. I know they can be annoying because I used to be one for years. And at her studio, she finds that after a tough day, goes home, makes herself a nice hot chocolate, jumps in the bath, a nice soapy bath, and watches a DVD or listens to a podcast. That's her podcast and pamper. She knows that no matter how annoyed or wound up she gets during the day, she'll be sat covered in suds watching a movie or listening to a podcast while sipping on hot chocolate later on. That gets her through the day. What could you plot at the end of your day horizon that would get you through the day? What would excite you to know you've got to look forward to tonight?
Well, I use different things. Sometimes it depends on the day. Sometimes it gets to about tea time and I do a tough workout or something, because I always find that is a massive stress reliever, but everything makes me feel physically and mentally better.
Yeah. So having a workout to look forward to, absolutely. Something if that's what gets you going, then that's brilliant. That's it. Perfect. What
Sometimes
about you, Sally?
it's wine. I won't lie. Sometimes I'm thinking I want wine.
Sally, what were you about to throw into the equation?
It's such a simple thing, but it can be quite a nice end to the working day for those of us who aren't used to working from home. Is once my partner and I, once we've finished our working day, we put our coats on and we go for a walk, even if it's 5 minutes in the rain round the block. It could be longer, but it's a full stop at the end of the working day, and it's a nice feeling to then come home, chill out, have dinner, and it just segments the day a little bit.
Absolutely. So we've got some ideas then around end of day. Now we're going to bring it down even further then, because I'm a big fan of chunking things down to smallest possible elements. What about at the end of your break? Now, when you look at the world of fitness, people think that you get more, if you were to run for longer, they think you get more fat burning and fitness benefits. But what's been found now is actually if you work at high intensity and then low intensity, high, low, you actually get more done overall. Okay, you work for less time, but you get more done because you're able to work at a higher intensity due to the breaks. Okay, that's the same for our productivity as well. You know, the whole Parkinson's law thing, things will stretch to fill the amount of time you give them. If you give yourself a day to do something, it'll take a day. Give yourself 2 hours, it'll take 2 hours. So breaks are one of the most important things for physical and mental energy. Physical breaks as well, not just something else on the screen, but getting up, getting off our backsides. I was doing a one-to-one with a gentleman yesterday from one of my clients, and he says he's feeling disengaged all the time. And I said, well, okay, so how often do you take a break throughout the day? He said, well, I just have half an hour at lunchtime. There's your problem. If you're sat down all day long, your energy we have this ultradian rhythm, this 90-minute rhythm in our body where we start to slump every 90 minutes and we think we need coffee to bring us back out, but we don't. We just need to go and do something else while the energy is coming back around. I personally, every 30 minutes, take a 10-minute break, go and do some shadow boxing in the garden, practice a new yoga stretch or a balance hold or something like that. Do something physical and I come back to my desk and feel recharged. And I actually look forward to those things because I know in 30 minutes, I'll be getting off my ass and I'll be doing something that I find fun. Practicing a bit of boxing, whatever it is, it's something that I find fun. So what could you plot every time you take a break? And remember, it needs to be at least every 90 minutes, unless you're going to be consuming coffee like nobody's business. Every 90 minutes, what would give you an excuse to get off your bum, but you would also look forward to?
I've set alarms on my telephone. So I've got 1 hour and then there's an alarm that goes off saying it's a break. And that gives me 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, there's an alarm saying go back to work now. And then at lunchtime, it's a 2-hour break.
Brilliant. Well, that's a nice 2-hour break at lunchtime. So clearly Peter's got it nailed. Hands up. Come on. Hands up who's been guilty of not taking breaks? Who sits on their bum for more than 2 hours in a row? Okay, right. And do you ever find yourself being disengaged? Right, there's your answer. Go to Wilco's. I mean, I even just use this. Don't know if you can see. 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes that goes off, and I'm off my bum. Otherwise, I'd end up with piles. No, only joking. But it gets me off my bum, and I do something. But when I come back 10 minutes later, I feel recharged. completely recharged and ready to go again, looking forward to the next break and the next break. But I enjoy what I do anyway, so it's not that I need to get away from it, but it still helps to know I'll be getting some movement, because that movement mobilizes the energy in our bodies. So what could you give yourself every time we take a break? What could you give yourself to look forward to? Give me some ideas. It doesn't matter how small, but it's got to be something where you get off your bum, away from the screen.
I like the idea that you say doing some stretching or something. I think that's really good. Yeah, because I like doing that. Or sometimes I take a break, and I know it sounds really sad, but I might go and like hoover a bedroom or something.
You know what? I don't put the washing away.
But it just completely breaks what I'm doing,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. So we've got, okay, so we go and do some, Jules is hoovering, or she practicing some yoga as well. What other ideas we got in the room? What do we think?
I think even just stepping outside and getting some fresh air, even if it's going into the back garden or standing on the doorstep and just looking at something different and getting some, fresh air is really good for you.
You're equally as weird as me, so I really enjoy just going and standing on the back doorstep and looking at the sky.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
It's always fascinating. Even if it's a really grey day, it's still a fascinating thing to look at as well. So we've got being weird and looking at the sky. We've got hoovering, Jules. We've got yoga poses. What else could we do?
Jules actually thinks I'm weird when I do this, but I go to, our house is 3 stories up, and I go to the top floor sometimes and just
you
look
don't jump
over the garden. Yeah, the window's not quite big enough.
You abseil down.
But yeah, just look out over the back garden, because there's a big old shoe factory behind us. It's been converted into apartments, and there's a great big tree. And
it's just watching people in there.
Yeah, just watching all the kids.
That's called voyeurism, Mark. That's called voyeurism. You know.
Yeah. See, I told you it was weird.
The neighbours closed the curtains now.
So guys, what we've got then, so I just want to recap what we talked about, because this idea we typically think of things to look forward to pull us through the tough times. We think of it as an annual holiday often, but like Simon said, we can have things on a weekly basis. We've got things at the end of the month, we've got things at the end of the day, we've got things at the end of every single break as well. If you cultivate this mental habit, you've always got some lights at the end of the tunnel to pull you through the tough times. When you're having a bad day, you're having a bad week, there's something out there bigger than that you've got to look forward to. And I'll borrow the words from, I think it was a Stanford professor, Pia Sorka, and her words always stuck with me. She says, focus on the excitement and it will get you through the obstacles. Focus on the excitement and it will get you through the obstacles. So my challenge to you as of today is to start cultivating a way to plot something on your month-end horizon, something on your end-of-week horizon, something on your end-of-day horizon, and something on your end of every single break, and see how you get on. And hopefully that should help you to pull you through the tough times, because you're focusing on the excitement and it will help you to get through the obstacles.
I love that.